Sian and I live in South London and I'm 29. I'm primarily a musician, both a classical musician and an alternative musician, but I also write and I teach, and I've been doing sort of LGBTI and feminist activism since I was a little wee tiny person. My family is not, in some ways it's quite a traditional background and in some ways it's not. I think my brother and I, 3 years younger than me, were brought up in a way that was very gender flexible, and definitely an attitude of like, you know, you can sort of almost do what you need to do to be happy. And my parents had always done quite a lot of sort of gay rights activism themselves, and they'd marched in Hong Kong for the gay rights. So I don't think I really thought about gender until I hit puberty. I know that when I was at school, I really hated the fact that teachers would call me young lady, and I would really hate the fact that they have rules to do with that, you know, young ladies don't get in fights on the playground. And then puberty hit and suddenly everything was wrong with my body. You know, I think I used to do that thing where I'd go to bed at night and have this ridiculous hope that somehow I'd wake up in a body that felt more comfortable, and almost the sensation that you could wish it away. And I came out when I was 15 and came out as bisexual, and in terms of gender things, I didn't really know what words I could use to describe myself. I said I was androgynous, and I still really like that word to describe myself. It really works for me. As a very nerdy kid, I just went to the library and ordered lots of books on things and read Kate Bornstein and Leslie Feinberg and went, okay, transgender, that's a word that makes sense for me. I really like this and that's really good, and had this sneaking sensation in the back of my head going, I think I'm going to get top surgery at some point, but was quite frightened about it, I think, because I'd only seen surgical results that were quite brutal, I think, in terms of what the doctors had done. They obviously hadn't shown much care to their patients. But I think also the fear that trans people were treated so badly in society, and I knew that I was trans, but almost could I minimize my almost physical engagement with that so that I could have a career that was as good as I could make it? Because I think that was the other point, was I've always made music, I've always known I was going to be a musician. So from the get-go, I thought, you know, well, am I ever going to be able to take testosterone? Because again, at the point, the only stories I read about trans men taking testosterone said that they'd lost their voices entirely. And that just wasn't an option. I couldn't even begin to think about how that would work. And interestingly, now that I have trans students and that I'm doing more research myself, I don't actually think that's true, but at the time that was definitely the consensus. Started to explore things more. Was very lucky to meet Ingo, who runs Bar Whatever, back when she was doing drag king workshops, and so I think when I was 20, went to one of those and went, well, actually I am trans. So I started researching surgeons. And then my brother was diagnosed with cancer, and everything else in my life went on hold. We didn't have a terminal verdict at first, so it was really putting all that energy into supporting him through this illness, and just having an amazing time going to rock gigs together, because my brother and I were soulmates. I mean, I can't, people always sort of said two sides of the same coin, and I think that works. And again, I think in gender it was always very interesting because we were so close. I think we almost found this kind of distinction between male and female almost quite pointless. I used to teach him how to do his makeup, and we would borrow clothes from each other, and, you know, we would admire the same people, and he was a big feminist, and then just before my 21st birthday and just before his 21st, he passed away, which was the worst thing that's happened in my life, and there have been some pretty bad things that have happened in my life, and that was definitely the worst. I almost felt that after that I just had to grab everything I could in my life with both hands and just really try and make it as honest and as joyful as I could. So it was a year after that I had top surgery. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life, and I wish I'd known enough when I was 16 to have not been frightened and just done it at 18. You know, I really do believe that every single person has a unique vantage point on their own body, their own, for want of a better word, soul, their mind, how all of those connect. And You know, I myself, I would use words like genderqueer, I would use words like androgynous. Many people who will call themselves genderqueer might well be totally different from me, or will listen to my explanation and go, no, that doesn't fit mine. For me, I like using the term genderqueer because so philosophically and intellectually, I cannot be having the binaries. In anything, look at how we are in terms of our sex bodies. We're not a binary. I think Anne Fausto Sterling, I like how she talks about the fact that, again, it's a spectrum of bodies, and when we look at our gender, well, what is gender? You know, you could have this whole list of things which people would count as contributing to their gender, the way they dress, the way they walk, the way they have sex, the way they, I don't know, you know, sort of hold themselves, or what makes them feel comfortable. So every person's gender is unique, so I feel that there cannot be a binary of genders, because really it's more like a constellation. Every single person, and that doesn't mean that those people can't be men and women. You know, that might well be something that fits them very well, and they can say, this is what man means to me, or this is what woman means to me, and this will tell you more about me if I use this word to describe myself. And in the same way, if I use the word genderqueer to describe myself, I feel that's helping people know that for me, man and women are not terms that are comfortable to me. So I prefer pronouns which are neither male nor female. I use the singular plural, which is they. I think it's easier in spoken English because we use it anyway. Oh, someone called, did they leave a message? If we don't know someone's gender, we just use they anyway. It's a neutral marker, and because it's neutral, that's why I like to use it. Even though there are so many times where I just look at the world and go, no, let's just stop it and start again, because we are doomed, this is terrible. I genuinely think that every single person has the ability to change the world, because every person can leave the world a better place than the way they found it. And no matter how long or short your life is, you can do that. Even if we think that we're powerless, small things can change someone else's life in a way that you have no concept of. And maybe that's what I think in terms of trans and gender sort of things. I really do feel that all aspects of human rights activism intersect. They have to, because essentially at the end of the day, what you're fighting for is for every single person in the entire world to be treated as fully human. Everyone is an untold story, and you'll never know it unless you take the time to listen. And that's what I want to do. I think if I can live my life in a way where I make the best art that I can make, and after I've died, people go, actually, they made the world a bit better than the world they were born into. That's totally the goal. That would be amazing.